Hello and a warm welcome to Superbike fans the world over. This is the last and final round of the World Superbike Championship for 2008, and somewhat appropriate then that we are at a brand new circuit, and Portugal is showing off in style and absolutely brand spanking new. You can see in the background there as the crowd has come in that the groundwork still being put together. It's taken an amazing short time of just 8 months to carve out a Formula One spec, world spec motor racing track, and the world's best, including this man, Max Biaggi, are here to race it. Max starts his last race of the year on the first row, having had an indifferent qualifying session. We've had very inclement weather and a lot of rain, cold, and somewhat unexpected heavy rain in qualifying. And glad to say that we're set fair today anyway. No real sign in the air of any rain. Certainly these boys from the Portuguese Air Force will be making sure. And talking of flying, Corsa has yet to win a race for the Yamaha team. And of course this is his last chance today. He has 2 chances to do it before he heads to BMW. Talking of which, one of their test riders and one of the greats of our series is alongside me, Steve Martin. Steve, last hurrah, so to speak, and we are far away. We're about 45 minutes from Faro here on the Algarve. But what a setting and what a track.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. We're so lucky to be here, and I mean, 7 years ago, Paulo Pinheiro had this dream to build a track at his hometown, and I guess his friends thought he was joking, but somehow he found $200 million, and here we have...
That's no joke.
One of the premier motorsports complexes in the world.
Yeah, and they've got big hopes for it. Formula One testing coming here in December. We've just had a demonstration from Toro Rosso and Jean Pasquale at the seat as we take a look at Reuben Xaus preparing himself. He's been on his bum a few times this weekend, but that shows he's trying.
That's an aggressive look he had too.
He did, didn't he? He means business. But the fans have come out. Portuguese are big motorsport fans. They follow Formula One, they follow MotoGP, they follow World Superbike, and it's good to see that they all come out, and they also follow this man, Noriyuki Haga. What a future he's got. Last race for Yamaha, and he too will be heading off to pastures new. He is the new spearhead, if you like, of Ducati next year, replacing Troy Bayliss.
Yes, a lot of pressure on his shoulders for next year. We know that he's fast, super fast, and you know he's had a string of wins this year, Vallelunga and so forth. But he's yet to be able to put together the perfect season. Hopefully for him, and hopefully for Ducati next year, they can do that with the guidance of Davide Todozzi.
Well, all the dignitaries are out, and this is a real combination of private money. Paulo Pinheiro, as you mentioned, was his vision, and with some land developers, they managed to work with the local government of Portimao to come up with this amazing circuit. Max Neukirchner, he too had a fall, but he looks okay. Give me a ring, he says.
Yeah, he's obviously signed for the All-Star team next year. That's the look of a worried man that we're looking at right there. He's opening that gas, but his hand's shaking a bit because he really needs to perform here next year. Well, in the series next year.
He's gone off a bit, hasn't he?
Well, I'm not going to say he's gone off a bit. Suzuki with a new bike next year. A lot of the other teams and the other bikes have improved, and the Suzuki seems to have, you know, it's obviously at the end of its development. So he's doing as much as he can, but to win the championship next year, he's going to have to take another step forward.
Perch Tyre on the hill. A lot of fans from Great Britain, and of course the Brits go on holiday to the Algarve, so there's a lot of them here, but it seems that the British riders do the same, because Jonathan Rea is fastest in the warm-up and on the front row in his first ever World Superbike outing. Unbelievable, given that he's been in Supersport all year, but he jumped on the bike and he's better, quicker and faster than anybody else on a Honda.
Including his Honda teammates, we might
more
add.
importantly.
So yet to be seen what's going to happen. Onboard camera from the Mito, you can get a little bit of the idea of the circuit and the undulation. It's an amazing circuit.
I think that's what's most impressive. Everybody describing it as sort of a combination of Phillip Island, Kyalami, Cadwell Park, all these great circuits. It's got a bit of Brands Hatch in it, a bit of Assen, yep, without a doubt.
All the great corners from all the great circuits brought together into one track.
Fonzi Nieto, troubled times for him, a dark dog sponsored man. has got a dark day ahead of him. He needs a result. Been up and down in qualifying. He was 4th quickest actually in the dry, so he'll be pleased it is dry today. Didn't fare so well in qualifying in the Super Pole, so he's going to have to work hard. And you can see that's not a man smiling and waving at cameras. He's a man going, give me my helmet, let's get the bike, let's get on with this.
Yeah, I mean, he had a tough year this year for sure. This is his last ride in the All-Star Corona Suzuki, sorry, the All-Star machine, and next year still uncertain what he's going to be doing.
Could be on a Ducati.
Could be on a Ducati, but definitely not in a factory team. All his factory options have dried up, so it'll be on a privateer bike, whatever the option is that he chooses.
Massive grandstand, and as I said, they are designed for Formula One. There's also A1 GP coming here in next year, and also GP2, the Forerunner 2 Formula One is also coming, so some big events coming as well, of course, as our season ender next October again, and I think we'll be coming here for a long time, and we hope that that man Kageyama is joining us. He's back next year, that's for sure. He had a bit of a spill himself in Super Pole, lost the front end, but that's the most likely way to lose it here.
It seems to be. In saying that, like, everybody says they're going to lose the front end, but we saw Reuben Xaus in Super Pole yesterday had that massive high side coming onto the start-finish straight at over 160 kilometres an hour. So the feeling is you're going to lose the front, but on a fast circuit like this, that is the way you want to go down. The last thing you want to do is have a big high side.
Robbie Rolfo has confirmed that he will be racing on a Honda again next year, but this time for the Stiggy Motorsport team. And that's good news for them. They've got a very strong lineup in Leon Haslam and Robbie Rolfo.
Yeah, I mean, very exciting for those guys. And straight after this meeting, the team having their first test session. They're buying some Hondas from the Paul Bird team, and they'll be testing here.
What a difference a day makes. As we take a look at Jakob Schmerz heading out. His brother had a front row start in the Super Stock, didn't turn it into a result. What can Jakob do? Didn't have a great Super Pole, to be fair. And Schmerz starts on the 3rd row in 12th position for the last round of the year. But what this glorious sunshine we've got today. It's heating up here. It's still early morning here, but we're expecting a nice, bright, sunny afternoon. Certainly a big contrast to what we had yesterday in qualifying. Qualifying started on Friday in damp conditions, and we had a session where they were using wets in a damp track and learning their way, really. And then yesterday it started nice, and we had a dry session, and then as we hit the afternoon and Super Pole, well, it just got wetter and wetter and wetter and harder, certainly for the likes of Xaus, the first man down. And Johnny Ray set the pace early on, but you could see the spray there, and that wasn't the worst of it. The conditions actually got worse, but the first man out, or 2 of the first men out, was number 84 and number 21. The factory Ducati boys seemed somehow to time it very well indeed. Fabrizio had been fastest in the wet, but then this man, 158.5, do me a favour. A swan song in the wet, more like a duck out there, half the race. But Crutchlow, Cal Crutchlow, an expert in the wet. They've had most of their season in the wet in Britain, and Cal Crutchlow, the wild card on the HM plant, was out there. Biaggi made amends, and despite doing lap after lap, Carlos Checa couldn't really improve, but did get up into the top 10 eventually. And Checa will start, in fact, actually 11th place, just behind Haga. So, Troy Bayliss watched on. He did his bit early on. Haga tried to chase. He too was struggling to stay in the top 10. He finally made it to 10th. We thought Regis Laconi was going to make the front row for the Kawasaki for the first time this year. And after 2 splits, he was right there. And then suddenly, on the last, he lost it all. And Laconi starts in 9th position. So, 26th pole position for that man. Kageyama, though, not there. He even got a kiss from Fabrizio. Hello and a warm welcome to Portimao in Portugal for the final round of the World Superbike Championship for 2008. I'm Jonathan Green, alongside me as ever, Steve Martin, and we are looking forward to something completely different, in the words of Monty Python, because this is a brand new circuit, never been ridden before, and we've had conditions which haven't really given the riders much time to really dial themselves in. It's a tough circuit, it's full of hills and crests, blind bends, and it really is a rider's circuit. It was designed by a rider, Paulo Pinheiro. He had a dream in 2000, didn't get a chance to go ahead until 2007, the end of, and he's been building it ever since. They finished the road into the circuit yesterday afternoon, would you believe? And yes, we are here and we are gathered to watch Bayliss's swan song here in the sunshine of the Algarve. It's almost as though they built a special playground just to let the big man play. Been an amazing year, and we started in the Middle East, in the sunshine of Doha, down under to Phillip Island, off to Europe, Valencia Assen, off to Salt Lake City for the first time, and then we came back to Europe, Bruno, Brands Hatch et al. And we're now here at the Autodroma de Parque Algarve, who have sponsored one of the Supersport teams and the Portuguese rider, Miguel Pereira. Praia meaning beach, and that's where we are, perched on the Algarve beaches. Alvor, Portimao, just down the road. Lagos, one of the corners named after it, just down the road. And of course, about 45 minutes from Faro, if you've ever been to this part of the world. But there you see it, a wonderful circuit, and I'll bring Steve in now. We have waxed rhapsodic about this circuit, but now we're getting the chance to see it. It is something special.
Really is. It's got corners from every other racetrack in the world. When we've spoken to the riders, they've mentioned that, oh, this little part's a bit like Phillip Island. This is like Brands Hatch. This is like here, there, Assen. So what this guy, Paulo Pinheiro, does, I don't know how he could ride, but he certainly knows how to design racetracks.
He was pretty handy, I heard.
Yeah, well, he can certainly build racetracks very well. Track temperature, quite chilly, 22 degrees. The thing on the riders' minds at the moment is the tyres, because it's been wet and dry and the track is quite green, because this weekend really is the first weekend that anybody has ever driven around this circuit. So not too much time to decide what tyres to put on the bike. So this race is going to be really interesting because it's going to be a bit of a gamble.
Well, there are also things to be decided, because Yamaha have yet to win a race in the hands of Troy Corser. Haga is currently in second place, as you can see, 325. But Corser, with a good weekend, could vault into second place overall. And with both of those riders leaving, they really want that. Bayliss, of course, has already wrapped up the championship. And everybody else now, people like Muggeridge, are riding for position and a place in next year's grid. Like Lavia, likewise, in 12th position.
Yeah, let's not forget Max Neukirchner either. He also has to perform for Suzuki, now third in the Manufacturers' Championship. He needs to be able to show his worth, because he's already signed for next year, but he was second in the championship earlier on in the year, and now he's falling back down as in 4th position. Needs to get a good result here.
So as we take a look, it's a little bit breezy out there, still a little bit chilly as well, but I think it'll warm up as the afternoon goes on. Great run by the HM Plant boys, both Leon Haslam and Cal Crutchlow. But Cal Crutchlow, he's so much fun. Look at him, big smile on his face, and you'll notice the man to his right. You might recognize him, Adrian Gorst. He's the man that took Colin Edwards to his 2 world titles. So Cal Crutchlow got a pretty good corner, and all of those men were involved in the Castrol Honda team of years gone by in World Superbikes. So a very, very handy bunch of mechanics and teams to have with him. And they've had a very successful year in Britain as well. They just wanted to finish it off on a high, and this is a good chance to do it. They could go for win here.
Well, second on the grid, fairly impressive. They tested here last week with the Ducati Xerox team, so they know the circuit in the dry. Little bit of an advantage, but this guy here, what an impressive ride.
Hero of the hour, surely.
Yeah, 3rd position on the grid. First time on this Tenkata Superbike, swapping from the Supersport series for this race in preparation for next year. In the wet, put it first, put it in front of his teammates that have been riding the bike all year on a bike which, to be fair, Keenan Sofoglu, great bike, fantastic rider, hasn't been able to do anything with.
And I'll say it now, Kianari and Checker are the 2 big stars, one from Japan and, of course, Checker from ex-MotoGP. Those are the 2 stars of the Tenkata team. Not until next year in Australia.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot to fight for now. Max Biaggi's had a little bit of an up-and-down weekend. In the wet and the dry sessions, hasn't really figured too much. But yesterday in the wet Super Pole, pulled a very good lap out and managed to put himself on the front row. So he's got himself in a good position to go for the win as well here.
It remains to be seen whether his race pace will be good enough. It usually is, and we're not used to seeing him on the front row. But as you said, even in the warm-up, he was nowhere. and he hasn't really been a factor throughout any of the qualifying until that wet Super Pole.
Yeah, you can never count out a guy like Max Biaggi. I mean, he's, you know, he can do whatever he wants, but in the race, he's strong. And as we've seen so many times this year, he's willing to push to the limit and over the limit. He's had a lot of bad luck this year, had some big crashes, but it hasn't phased him. And he's only out there riding and racing because it's in his heart and it's what he wants to do.
Well, he's racing, of course, for Aprilia next year. And the Roma man, there he is, with his Roma band on. Keep him warm, Michel Fabrizio. He could have a win there today, and I got a feeling you said it yesterday. He needs one, really. The pressure is off. He's got his ride for next year, and the future's bright, but he'd love to pull one over on his teammate, who's already won the title now, so
well,
why not?
You know, the thing is for Fabrizio, okay, it's his first year in a factory team, but his teammate has had 9 wins versus Fabrizio's 0, so he needs to do something about it.
Leon Haslam's had a great season in the UK, but he's been saying in the British press all year long that his dream is to come back to World Superbikes. Remember, he's been pretty much everywhere. He's done a bit of MotoGP. He's been back in the British Championship. He was, of course, on the Renegade Ducati a few years ago, back in 2004. Ollie, his girlfriend there, holding the umbrella. And, of course, the Haslam family, such an institution of racing. Well, they are back, and they're joining the Swedish Stiggy team next year on a Honda. So great news for fans of World Superbikes and fans of the British riders. It's a real British onslaught next year. Troy Corser, can he, in his last 2 races for Yamaha, finally take this trusty steed to victory? He's certainly got the capabilities, he's certainly got the smoothness, and I would say a track like this would suit a Corser.
Definitely. I mean, this is certainly a Corser track. He hasn't been helped out a lot by the fact that the weather's been inclement, you know, compared to some of the other guys that have had some dry testing time here. But he definitely, on his day, can do it. And the conditions aren't perfect at the moment, and these are the conditions where Troy Corser thrives.
Tough times for this man. He's been at it some 20 years, and his record is absolutely incredible. And we were looking at the ratios. When he shows up, he pretty much is either on the podium or he's winning the race. And Troy Bayliss has no intention to stop winning races. He's got 2 more left in his career, and he wants them both to be wins.
Well, there's Reuben Xaus on the screen now, but let's just talk about Ducati wins. So far this year, Ducati have won 11 races, 9 by Troy Bayliss and 2 by every other Ducati rider. So that just shows you how good Troy Bayliss is. And this guy here, Reuben Xaus, is one of those guys to win a race.
And the other is not here.
No.
Sadly, Lanzi is not here. It seems that financial crunch might have played a part in RG's not being here. Those are just the rumours, mind. But facts are that RG are not here this weekend.
Yes, so unfortunately for Lanzi,
Regis is
not here. Yeah, Regis is here, and he is searching for a ride for next year because he will not be lining up with the PSG1 Kawasaki team, which won't be the official Kawasaki team next year. It's still to be confirmed, but what we can confirm is PSG1 is not the official Kawasaki team next year. Another team in the paddock is. Perhaps the Paul Bird team, I've
Possibly,
heard.
Yeah. And what about PSG? What happens to them? They're a big franchise,
Yeah,
San Marino.
They are. What I've heard is that they want to continue using Kawasaki, but more like a Petruccini type team to sort of like drop back down.
Now, you might have noticed an interesting shot there. Yes, an onboard shot on Noriyuki Haga. Yes, we thought for a little bit of fun, for the last race of the year, we'd show you what it's like to be Noriyuki Haga and a couple of others as well. And we'll be on board with them, we hope, throughout the racing, and I think that's going to make things very interesting indeed. And Goreski, I think, is leaving the team, and they're saying goodbye, or he's saying goodbye, because of course this is Haga's last weekend as well before he joins Ducati. He's been with Yamaha all his career pretty much, except for a stint with the Renegade Ducati when he was teammate to Leon Haslam, but he's been a Yamaha man through and through.
Yeah, I mean, he's dabbled around, but definitely everyone associates him with. There's another shot of an onboard camera on the bike of Checker, so we're going to see some new and interesting shots for us here in World Superbike this weekend. Going to be very exciting.
Well, Will Carlos Checker, new track last time out at Miller, he was the man. Got a double win there.
Yeah, so let's see what he can do here. I mean, he's had a funny season, really. I mean, from Valencia, Miller Motorsports Park, he was looking unbeatable. He could just ride that bike around everybody. But this last half of the season, he seems to have struggled a little bit with something. Not really talking about what that is, but hopefully here on a more even playing ground, because let's remember his first year in World Superbikes, it's a big learning year for him.
So the two Alfa Romeo Mito safety cars head off on this beautiful Portimao circuit. And interestingly, the first turn here, as you can see, is downhill, then into a right-hander. It's a bit like Barcelona in its first corner, a long straight and then into a tight right-hander, but not that tight to be first gear. There is another way of going around the circuit slightly tighter, but as you can see, it's quite open and flowing, and then it heads down to turn 2. Turn 3 is very tight, and then it goes back uphill for the first time. So these are the scenes here in Portimao, in Portugal, and pole position, and his 8th of the year, and another flat screen. Well, there's one thing he can do in retirement, is watch TV. He's got plenty of them.
Yeah, he can have every channel on a different one, can't he? Every TV on a different channel.
I did an interview with him yesterday, and I said, well, it's the last time I'm going to bug you. And he said, don't worry, I'll be back next year. He said, not to race, but I'll be around. And there's Matej Schmurtz from Česká Budějovice. I'll do it again. Now I've been practicing, but he too struggled in Superpole. Third row start here.
Superpole really depended on being on the track at the right time, so a little bit there. There's a number 18, dedication to Craig Jones, of course.
Yep, a lot of thoughts for Craig Jones this weekend. As we take a look at Kageyama, Craig Jones would have been riding here for the Park Elgar team and has been with Miguel Pereira, effectively sponsoring and selling the circuit to the rest of the world. Sadly, obviously, he lost his life at Brands Hatch in that incident in Supersport, and they have a memorial to him outside the circuit and have been celebrating his life all through this weekend, including naming one of the corners after him. In fact, it's this corner.
Yeah, and it's a typical Craig Jones corner, that one. That is one where he would have had the bike sliding absolutely sideways. So you know, great job.
Overtaking is going to be the interesting thing for me here, because it's a Formula 1 spec circuit, i.e. 16 meters wide. It's a lot wider than your regular. I think it's a lot wider, therefore, than maybe Phillip Island, maybe certainly Brands Hatch. And I think it's going to be, therefore, more chance to sort of have a go at a few places that wouldn't be obvious. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, there's definitely a lot of lines where you can dive in, and it's a sort of place where you're going to dive in and chop your opponent off and then change line, and then your opponent's going to be able to snip back up the inside. So we're going to see a lot of different overtaking manoeuvres. Also the straight here, there's a really nice fast corner coming onto the straight, so there'll be a lot of slipstreaming, and if it's close coming onto the final lap for the last time, it could come down to the slipstream battle for the win.
Yeah, wherever you're watching around the world, whether you're sitting on watching Sky Sports in New Zealand, Fox in Australia, all the way to Mnet in South Africa, Russia, Speed in the USA, watch out for that last corner, because it's very, well, it's been described as clearways and it's been described as Phillip Island. Combine the two. Two long runs, and of course you've seen the finishes there before. It's always nail-biting. Plus, add to that, a blind crest at the top of it.
Yeah, hopefully with the onboard shots we're going to see the undulation of this circuit. To give you an idea, the steepest hill down is a 12% gradient, and there's a lot of slopes and bends and blind crests. It's just a really fantastic circuit where you can just flow into the corners.
And if you don't know your mathematics, a 12% gradient means that when you come flying over it in a car, as I did with our director, trying to scare me, you basically, your stomach goes into your heart, basically. It really does take it away from you. You drop dramatically, and then to the point when we're on a bike, and we were talking to Corsa about this, obviously the front end gets light. You lose power, you lose speed, and it's really the key here, and a lot of places, is to try and keep that bike planted under both braking and acceleration so you don't lose the front. It's all about balance.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a circuit about balance, and also the balance of the bike, because you're on the side of on the side for a long time, so you have to have a really good balance from front to rear to give you a good feeling.
Well, it was Halloween this weekend, and I think it's just about to get scary.
Well, there's a few guys out there with a lot to prove, Jonathan. I mean, like Troy Bayliss, when we spoke to him, he only wants 2 results, and it's not first and second, it's first and first 2 times to add to his tally.
He's starting pole position, Crutchlow, Ray, and of course Biaggi, Fabrizio, Haslam, Corsa and Xaus, the second row. Laconi, Haga, Checker and Schmerz. So Checker and Haga with work to do, but watch out for Laconi if he gets a good start. Kageyama, Badavini's qualified well. Neukirchner hasn't. He's way down. Lavia looking for a ride next year. Gimbert, Kianari didn't go well. Rolfo has got a ride, but he needs to do work. Muggeridge looking for a ride. Nakatomi. Bridewell comes in. Tommy Bridewell of Great Britain, one of the wild cards. Tamada is also at the back. Portuguese rider wild card. Carriara is on the last row, and we see this track now in anger for the first time on the warm-up lap. And Steve, I'll leave it with you to describe some of the nuances as we head to turn 3, the first real tight turn that goes uphill after this.
Yeah, this is the first gear corner here. The guys say that this part of the circuit is a little bit like the first part of the new Misano, but as you can see, they're coming up, and it's blind left-hand corner here, flat out down a little straight, and once again into a blind braking area. Very hard to find your braking point here on the short circuit. The F1 goes straight ahead there. Around the big tower in the middle, where there's a great viewing area up there, the VIP area. Up this hill, lean angle, fall away, second, third gear. Get the bike really sliding. Have to change direction on the blind, entry into the right. Up to turn 8, the next turn, which is a Samsung corner. Very critical corner here. Can't run wide. You can see there, absolutely flat out. You're accelerating. It's always blind. Flick to the left.
Whoa,
down
you go.
You could hear there that Kageyama, Checker had to back off the throttle. He just can't carry that throttle, otherwise he's going to flip that bike. Another right-hand turn in here. Run a little bit wide there. This is going to be a good overtaking manoeuvre. Down another slope and flick directions left, up, very up and down this circuit.
It's huge, and it's the blind crest, because you just don't know what's on the other side. I mean, you'd be chasing somebody for 14 laps and suddenly they could have an incident in front of you and you're not aware of it.
At speed, the wheels are hardly in contact with the ground. That's the whole thing. Like, there's so many like jumps and dips. It's a little bit like a big motocross track.
And that's looking up at Noriyuki Haga. And we'll get some great sound as well by the sounds of things. So we will keep you informed and let you enjoy it with us. But it is really something quite special. I don't know anybody who has dished this circuit yet.
Yeah, and there's a good look at the last corner. You can see there, it starts off at the same level as the start-finish straight and dips down. So really critical corner to see. A lot of slipstreaming is going to take place, and we're going to see a lot of sliding coming out of that corner onto the start-finish straight.
Okay then, it's been a long year. It started all the way back in February in Doha. In Qatar, we went to Australia. We came back to Europe. We've seen the great circuits of Brands Hatch and Monza and Brno. We've been to Valencia. We've been around the world. And now we come to the last hurrah. And amazingly, as you'd expect, it's Bayliss on pole position. And he is going for 2 wins, that's for sure. Biaggi, though, will be looking from the front row to try and make amends. But then look at the 2 effective wild cards, because Jonathan Rea is in his first Superbike ride, and fellow Honda rider Cal Crutchlow is out to beat him. They've ridden against each other many times before. It's the last hurrah from Faro in Portugal. We're just outside Portimao. Let's go racing. When the lights go out, we will. Away they go. Good start from Bayliss. Not a bad start from Biaggi. All the front row got away well. Corsa's got away well too. We head down to the first corner. Johnny Rea slightly bolt, but he does dive into 3rd place, and it is Bayliss who leads.
Yeah, great manoeuvre there by Johnny Rea to be up that front. He's in a really good position now, and he's up the inside too.
He's not messing about.
No, but he's wide, and there goes one of the Yamahas through.
I think that's Corsa, so away we go then. Leading the way, number 21, and it is Troy Corsa in 2nd place. Johnny Rea went wide. Crutchlow is in 4th place. It's Max Biaggi who's lost out, but he's still in the mix just behind there.
Yeah, good move.
Oh no, down goes one big rider. That's
Fabrizio
and Biaggi. Oh, this is going to come to... Oh, hello.
Again. They in Misano, they had the same thing.
Fabrizio's not done. He wants a bit of a crack at it.
We need to get another look at what happened there. We didn't really see what happened, but definitely in the braking area. But back to the action. Yeah. 21 is Bayliss, and Troy is on his way. But Biaggi, the front row starter, down already early on. So, what an interesting start. And were Rea not to have gone wide in the opening salvo of the 2nd turn, he might have been leading, but it is Bayliss and it is Corsa. Corsa not to win yet on Yamaha. He will be desperate to beat Bayliss today. I'll tell you what's interesting, Jonathan. We've got 2 ex-English guys. And look at Reuben Xaus up
Xaus is there.
Well, if we were worried about close racing, I think it's been dispelled now and overtaken.
Immediately.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely fantastic. Troy Bayliss doing what he does best. He's clearing away out front. And Johnny Ray, what a fantastic job. Look at that, he's got a nice tight line.
That's the last corner. Look at that, side by side with Corsa almost. Crutchlow's in the mix. He's side by side with Xaus. Here comes Ray. Down towards the first corner. Bayliss sets the first lap, 1:46.5, and Ray dives into second place ahead of Corsa. Crutchlow's there, Haslam's just behind, Haga's 7th, Checker is 8th.
Corsa just back up the inside into the Lagos, into the first gear corner now. Flicks to the left. Good move by Corsa.
The key to these three is chasing Bayliss and not letting him get away. Look at this gaggle. 76, 34, the two Suzuki's, and Laconi's right there with him in 10th position. Lavia behind them.
And look at Reuben Xaus. He's out to show what he can do as well. Right on the back wheel of Johnny Ray there, slowly making his way forward. But at the moment, Troy Bayliss getting clear track behind him.
Well, he's got almost a second on these guys at the moment. He did a 1:46.5 compared to a 1:47.4 by Corsa, so he was a second quicker in just that first lap.
Corsa a little bit wide out of that one, down that 12% slope through the Craig Jones kink, absolutely flat out through there, and then blind left. Look at Corsa there, over the slippery part of the circuit, maintaining his line.
Down the hill they come again, another big drop down, and through it comes Xaus. Oh, and he's risking everything. There, Biaggi's already gone down. Ray onto a bit of it, Crutchlow's there.
Let's remember that Ducati that Reuben Xaus is on isn't a factory machine. It is a privateer machine that anybody with money can buy, and he's just tried to get
wide.
past. Yeah, but Corsa back up the inside, and this is the sort of racing that this circuit is going to produce. A little bit like Phillip Island, where you can stay in the slipstream. This is the corner that Reuben Xaus crashed on. He crashed right there.
Look at Ray. Ray takes a completely different line, and look how he bounces off the crest and ahead of all of them. Crutchlow's gone with him. Corsa's dropped down 4 places in just one corner. Amazingly, Ray goes into second place. Bayliss does a 1:45. He's really taken it to him. They've got a 2-second lead now over Ray Xaus and Crutchlow, so Bayliss means business, but he always does. This is his last hurrah, and he means to take it with a vengeance. And I'll tell you what, Bayliss has been the man of the moment, and he's not here to make up the numbers. He's going to go out with a double if he can.
Well, the thing is, Bayliss just set the new lap record at a 1:45.0, which is 1.2 seconds a lap quicker. And the reason for that is that those guys are just dicing and cutting each other up, and it's doing Bayliss a big favour. And there
Two
we go.
old teammates, they're on board with Haga. He's got Haslam in front of him as we head out of turn 4. Now flick right now, down through the gears into second gear now. And you get to hear it too.
Yeah, good shots there. And there we go, back down that hill again, into that Craig Jones King, absolutely flat out through there. Corsa just sitting on the back of that group. It's good you can see all the different lines. There's those two guys that are used to racing together in England.
Crutchlow will come up the inside here.
Yeah, Crutchlow's through, but now Johnny Ray can cut back up the inside, but not this time.
So Crutchlow's found a place that he likes. Corsa is good. Watch Ray on the last corner. He's got something special there. He lines himself up here. This is the long right-hander, this one. It goes on forever, seemingly. Now, the next couple of corners, you watch Ray's line. It's slightly different. He manages to take the inside line when the others go slightly wide. It's, as we go on board, you'll get to see what I mean. On the power slowly.
Yeah, he just cuts a nice tight line at the apex. He's willing to get a lot closer, and he's so fine in his feeling on the bike. He can cut a little bit tighter than the other guy there.
Crutchlow had a brilliant outing at Donington in the wet. It's in second place, and he's 3 seconds though adrift. Ray is with him. Xaus is 4th. Corsa's still 5th. Haslam's in the mix, and Haga's just behind him. Then it's Checker, Neukirchner and Lavia making out the top 10. Schmerz has dropped down, so too has Laconi. But Bayliss is making a real run for this.
2 laps, 3.1 seconds advantage there. And that is because these guys are dicing so hard into the hairpin corner, let's say. Turn 5, out of turn 5, up through the gears, stay on that full lean angle as the tyres where they're going to get a lot of sliding out of there. Change of direction quickly on the side of the tyre. Reuben using a lot of the front tyre there. Holds it tight.
We talked to Giorgi Babbia, the head of Pirelli, about the conditions and obviously the varying conditions. They tested here as well. He wasn't too concerned about the tyres lasting the race.
No, he wasn't, because Pirelli, here we go, let's have a look. Okay, that there is...
Whose fault?
Fabrizio's fault. He's dived up the inside, contact with Biaggi. There you go again. Look, bang.
I'm afraid, sorry,
There's no way
no contention there, mate, so I don't know why you were having to go at Biaggi. Biaggi had the right.
Yeah, that's 2 times he's done that to Biaggi this year. Let's remember that they are neighbours, so let's hope they don't live on the same street down there in Rome.
2 Romans don't make a right.
Not this time.
So, anyway, they'll live to fight another day, but I think there might be words.
Reuben Xaus is always a very aggressive rider. Here he comes onto that start-finish straight again. So fast there. See the Honda cutting that tight line.
Yeah, the Honda looks so good. Look at Ray. Now, see, look at the power Ray gets. He just seems to fly by them. Now, he'll be ahead of Crutchlow. Look at him. Elbows out. Xaus means business. Go on, son.
Well, that private.
Whoa! And Ray almost takes both of them out.
Yeah, this is a fantastic performance by Johnny Ray. When you consider...
It's his first ride on the bike.
I mean, Carlos Checa down in 8th and Chianari coming back from injury but in 18th. So, well done, Johnny Ray.
I know, he's sheer class. His dad's here this weekend. He's built himself up. This is his first year at the world level, remember, and it doesn't matter what he's riding. He took Andrew Pitt all the way in the Supersport Championship, Pitt eventually becoming world champion. Crutchlow still fighting with Xaus, but Ray has been a sensation on this bike.
Let's not count out Crutchlow either. You know, I want to talk, here we go with the onboard shot.
On board with Haga, of course. He's got Haslam in front of him.
Yeah, I expect...
Now, look at the blind crests.
Listen to him here. Oh, they cut off, but that's where you can't hold the full power down that straight because the wheel lifts, and some of the guys saying if you held full power, the bike will flip. But
yeah, and it's sometimes that just listening is just as interesting as the visuals because you get to see who's on it.
And Cal Crutchlow now pulling a little bit of a gap. What I was going to say about Cal Crutchlow is, you know, he's an absolutely fantastic talent. Oh, and Johnny Ray runs wide there.
Big mistake. Look how many places he's lost. 3 places. Those won't be easy to gain, especially when it's Haslam and Haga.
Yeah, and that group actually running at a slower pace than the group behind. So they're going to be caught. And now we've got a massive battle for second place.
Well, Bayliss has just put in the fastest lap at 1:44.7 here in the brand new Portimao circuit in Algarve. Over the crest and over the hill, they come across the line, past our commentary position. Another good lap by Crutchlow, 1:45.4, his best so far, and he's now pulling away from this group in second. He's perhaps the only man who can stop Bayliss. Xaus in third, real battle for the podium though. Xaus, Corsa, Haslam, Haga, and now Ray in 7th place, having been all the way up to second.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bayliss is gone personally. Like, he's just doing it easy at the moment. He's not under pressure. Even not under pressure, he's running quicker than anyone. The race now is for second place, but who cares? Look how exciting it is.
Well, Checa is excited. He knows the man in front of him is his teammate, and he's not far off. He's got Haga between them, but Checa wants to beat Ray.
I mean, Haga could make his way through this pack without a problem. I mean, he's caught them up, and we know what he's like in traffic. He's very aggressive. He rides a little bit like Reuben Xaus, but he's small, so he's got the speed.
No one rides like Reuben Xaus.
No, well, he's on another level, but, you know.
Reuben Xaus has done a good job of catching Crutchlow, though, because Crutchlow had a good lead as they went into the first turn. But look, you can see already that as they come through Craig Jones, he's caught right up with him.
Definitely. And look at him slide, he's made a mistake. Reuben could go up the inside, but no.
Now back down the hill. Next is a left-hander. That's where Crutchlow overtook earlier in the race.
Into turn 11.
Haslam's in the party. He's not afraid.
No, I mean, there's a lot of people in this battle that don't want to get beat by other people. For example, Haslam wants to beat Crutchlow because you don't want to get beat by a teammate.
Well, just trying to listen for the onboards of Checa there, and you can see that battle. We were on board as Checa's at the back of this group. Down the hill into the last corner they come.
Look at those lines again, and once again the Honda Tyre on the apex of Johnny Ray. Gets a good slipstream now, in the slipstream, but Haga goes past. Haga got the best slipstream out of those guys there.
HM Plant Boys looking good, and yes, the British riders are very talented, but they did have a test here as
and
well.
Ray
Ray! And that slippy off line there onto the asphalt.
That is the beauty about this circuit, though. It's really safe for motorcycles. You can stand it up and run off onto the asphalt offline and get back on track. So Ray has got a lot of work to make up. He's made a couple of mistakes now.
I was about to say, having sung his praises all race long, and right at the beginning, he's made mistakes. And Checa is through. Haga's there. Haga just in front of Carlos Checa at the moment.
Johnny Ray's allowed to make mistakes because, you know, this is his first time on the bike.
He's only 12, isn't he?
I don't know how old
he's still
he is,
young. Early 20s.
Yeah, it's absolutely, fantastic ride. He's already achieved what he needed to achieve, and that was to see if he could ride this superbike competitively. He's proven that.
And he's got a great following from Northern Ireland as well.
Leon Haslam slowly working his way through too. HM Plant doing a great job considering, that they're not full-time members in this championship to be up in this race.
Let's just, stand up and salute for a second though. Bayliss, I'm going to miss him. All I can say is I'm going to miss him. 5.5 seconds now. Total dominance. I mean, he's just been incredible. He is our Valentino Rossi. If Rossi is the king of the MotoGP world, Bayliss is definitely our king, and he's proved it again, time and time again in 2008. And when he takes on the likes of Valentino, he beats them anyway.
That's looking back from Haslam to Troy Corser, that shot there.
Corser currently in 5th position, Ray 6th, Haga 7th, Checker in 8th position. Smertz actually is catching up with this battle. He's in 9th position with Lavia 10th.
Leon Haslam gets past Reuben Xaus, and Haga goes past 2 on the straight there. Great drive. Xaus.
Whoa! Xaus got a bit of his own medicine and gives it back. Welcome to the championship, Leon.
Yeah, you've got to be tough here, and especially racing against a guy like Reuben Xaus. He doesn't give up at all.
Whew. Well,
that was close.
Yep.
But it just shows you the determination of Reuben Xaus and why BMW have chosen him as one of their 2 riders for next year. I mean, he gives 115%. He rides that bike a lot harder than anyone else out there.
Well, as close as he races, they should have given him a boxer engine, then he could just stick that engine at people. Boxer Cup.
Yeah, I've got a feeling the bike he's going to be riding next year is a little bit better than a boxer.
Well, you've ridden it. What do you think?
I think it's a good bike. We're going to see those guys up there next year for sure, and it's going to be a long, hard year for sure for everybody in the championship next year.
And the one thing I've got from the press is that they're doing it their way. They're doing it typically Bavarian motorsport way. They're doing it as BMW do in Formula One. They're there to be champions, however long it takes.
Yeah, definitely, and I really believe they'll get there. They should get some podiums and things next year. They're doing it the hard way. They're doing it all in-house and doing it all themselves and not bringing in anyone from the outside to help. So, when BMW win their first race, it's because BMW did it, not because anybody else did it. So, you've got to take your hats off to people like that.
What an incredible battle this is starting to form up to be. Long way to go with 14 to go. Out of the last corner they come.
You see Reuben there, how much he pushes that bike in the middle of the corner. He had a little bit of a moment because he just rides on the absolute edge of the grip, and you can see how fast the Honda is compared to the Private Ducati. Leon Haslam, with his unique style, gets past Reuben Xaus like he did the lap before. Will Reuben make the same move? Not this time.
Bayliss, a 7-second lead. Bayliss is gone. Absolutely gone.
Yeah, I mean, I know this is a great battle, but let's just quickly talk about Bayliss for a second. He's, he's in a class of his own, and it's a shame.
Now this is going to be fun. The 2 teammates, Crutchlow and Haslam. They fought each other all season long. There's no room, surely. How did you get through there, Rubino? Don't do that to me. Ha ha. Fantastic. Just as the HM Plant boys were busy, Xaus was building his own little game.
And there goes
Love
Haga.
to see a replay of that.
Haga also pushed Crutchlow back then too.
And Ray's coming through. Well, this is like a 1-2-5 race. This is absolutely superb.
That's Carlos Checker. Crutchlow has gone from 2nd way back in that dice to about 6th position in 1 lap.
Fantastic 8-man battle here at the new Portimao circuit. This is what we hoped for, and well, somehow Haslam's come through.
We're just over halfway in this race now, so tyre wear is going to start to come into play, and maybe Crutchlow has chosen a tyre a little bit too soft, because the guys have got a few choices, but let's see.
We'll find out the tyres for you in the 2nd race. They don't like to give them for the 1st race, just in case we give any espionage away. And Haga's giving nothing away against Xaus, and again they come close. Ray goes round the outside. He's got a completely different line in that last corner, but it seems to get him drive down the main straight. Here comes Checker on Haga.
Yeah, what he's doing is he's getting in tight and then picking it up and getting on the meat of the tyre nice and quickly. But Checker now starting to make his way forward. Look at that.
Checker looking comfortable. And it's always the way with Checker. He seems to get comfortable as the race goes on.
Yep.
Oh, he won't be comfortable with Haga there. No. Haga flips by again. Into the tight 1st gear, 2nd gear, on board with Checker and Haga. Up the hill they come, up to the first big crest. back on the power when you straighten it up. Only a little bit of a straight, and then downhill again, hard on the brakes about here. As you can see with Crutchlow into the left-hander, knee on the ground almost all the way round here.
Haga just had a little bit of a bubble from his front end there, just got on the brakes a little bit too hard, just lost it a little bit, but pulled it back in line.
Now you sit it up, but look for how long? Just a second. You're literally switching from side to side. Another tight right-hander into an even tighter right-hander, and up the hill they go again to the biggest dip of all, coming up to 8 and 9. Over the hill, it goes light. You hold it down. Sweep, stomach really hurting, up through the Craig Jones corner. Blind crest again, keeping right, keeping left to avoid going too wide, and then back down another swoop. It's like a roller coaster, this track. Down the hill they come again.
Bayliss now 7.5 second lead. Is very impressive. He's going out in style.
He's having his own Alton Park day, isn't he? His own Alton Towers day. So then,
I'm impressed by Haslam. He's sort of like been working his way forward, staying out of trouble, and now he's starting to pull a little bit of a gap, something that Cal Crutchlow couldn't do. Cal was there, but you know, he's starting to work his way back. Haslam was a fair way back, just slowly chipping his way forward. There
is the lonely leader on the Algarve. Life is a beach for that man, that's for sure. 7.2 the gap to Haslam. Haga now in third, but only just because he's about to lose that, and he has.
And there goes Checker.
So this impressive from Checker, because Checker was down in 10th place at the beginning of this race, and he didn't qualify that well either. He qualified in 11th, so to be where he is in 4th at the moment is impressive indeed.
Well, you know, there's a bit of pressure on Checker at the moment.
There is, and there is now, there too.
That man
Haga and Xaus, a bit of pressure. But you're right, generally there's a bit of pressure on him as the top rider, in my mind, for that team. He should be winning, as you said yesterday.
He needs to win for sure. I mean, that's why he's employed by these guys. He did a great job in the Suzuka 8 Hours. He won there for Honda along with Chianari, but now he's being pushed all the way by this young man in the back of this group, Johnny Ray.
Talking of which, the former British champion, Chianari, down in 12th position, his teammate. So Ray really showing these guys what it's all about. Back with the leader on his newly painted Australian. And we'll like to start a rumour here in the commentary box, but if you're watching in Australia, and I'm sure you are, Troy Bayliss's paint scheme is a possibility that they may do a run of 1098s in those colours, so get your orders in now.
Well, put my name down for one.
Fair enough. Well, the Ducati dealerships around the world, in fact there's a few here this weekend.
There's no point putting an onboard camera on the front of Troy Bayliss's bike, because you're only going to see
that's a waste of time.
Clear track.
Put one on the back if you like. Bayliss from Haslam.
You know, if you put one on the back of his bike, you're only going to see.
You want to see much, are you? No. Oh well.
I think they just need to give him the trophy for the next race, and then we can have a good race for the win.
Let's have a look. Here comes Bayliss, is already gone. 146.5. Haslam crosses now 145.6. So actually, Haslam a second quicker. So this battle is heating up now a little bit. It's certainly strong, and look at them, 3 abreast into the first corner. Corsa joins the mix.
Not a lot of room through there, but Reuben Xaus just chops the nose off of Checker.
So Bayliss has knocked it off a little bit, and I think that's just caution. He's dropped it from 7 to 6 seconds now, but that is a very, very comfortable lead, and it's a country mile in motorcycle terms.
Yeah, I mean, like Bayliss is just playing out there at the moment. A 6-second gap to him is like it's like a holiday. You know, he doesn't need to do anything. 2-second gap he's happy with. So 6 is incredible. But while these guys are dicing together, it's going to be really difficult for them to catch Bayliss. Only Leon Haslam probably has a chance, because he's now broken away a little bit from this group.
Plenty of interested bystanders watching on this afternoon, including Tom Sykes, who will ride, of course, here in the championship next year. America's Ben Spies, champion there. What will he do? He too is here this weekend, checking it all out, and he'll be testing on Tuesday. A lot of these guys testing their new bikes for next year in the coming week.
And when we say their new bikes, for example, I know that Yamaha are going to roll out the 2009 Yamaha R1 for these guys to ride around on. So not these old 2008 models, but the new ones. So very exciting.
And there's also a certain Michael Schumacher. You might have heard he's got an interest in superbikes. He's here too.
Yeah, he's going to be out on track tomorrow having a bit of a look around too. So it'd be good to see him. And there's Jakob Schmerz, He's joined this group too.
Well, he's in 9th, and yeah, like you say, he's behind Crutchlow, so amazingly. Well, Crutchlow's the one for me. I think you're right about the soft tyres with Crutchlow, because he's really gone from hero to zero, and Levia's just gone past him as well, so Crutchlow's just going backwards.
Yeah, I just saw Crutchlow's tyre then. If you had a little bit of a look, it's the rear tyre on the left-hand side is completely worn out, feathered, so his race has run. He chose the wrong tyre for sure.
So Bayliss, Haslam, Haga, Corsa, Xaus, Checker is what you're watching. They're in 5th and 6th place. And the 2 Spaniards going at it.
I don't know what tyres Reuben Xaus has got on, but I want some of them.
Well, he looks confident, doesn't he? The thing about Reuben is he's very aggressive, but somehow he doesn't sort of have the same sort of problems with tyre wear. So he must be good setup. And look at Haga, he's having a go at Leon Haslam now. 2 former teammates from the Renegade Ducati days of 2004. They've raced each other hard many times before.
Yeah.
Oh, that was as strong a pass as you'd ever want to see, and it took Leon by complete surprise.
And off track.
Wow. Well, I've heard of the Kings of Leon, but that was sex on fire from Haga.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. And that's also allowed Troy Corsa to get past as well. So, Leon, if you're going to come here next year...
Yeah, look out. It's going to be like that every weekend, my friend. Ooh, he takes no prisoners. Have a look at that on board with Haga.
Pretty clean little pass though, just caught him by surprise, and everyone there a little bit quiet in the Yamaha.
Just quietly watching Haga go about his business. Yep.
I mean, if you're those guys, you've got to be a little bit worried, don't you, to lose someone like Haga, because let's face it, he's got to be one of the contenders for the championship next year, and even though this is his last ride in the Yamaha, he's worked his way up into 2nd place.
Well, you've been telling me, as have some of the other experts, that the beauty of the Ducati, and this is not to belittle it, but the beauty of the Ducati is it's unlike the Yamaha and the Honda in that you can get on it and ride the wheels off it straight out of the box, and that's what Haga likes to do.
Certainly. He's got a little bit of adaptation to do for sure, because he's used to revving a bike up to like 15,000 RPM, 14,500 RPM, and you know, the Ducati's completely different, but he's ridden Ducati successfully in the past, so I can't see there being much problem in adaptation.
Well, he's been runner-up in this championship twice now, and he's been so close to winning it, and he's been the bridesmaid so many times, and he's always been in the top 4 in his decade of racing here. And he's just never won it. Next year will be his last real major opportunity, in my opinion. And he may take 2 years to do it, but I think Haga, if he's going to ever win the title, it'll be on that Ducati next year. He's actually won more races than anybody else again this year, but again, he won't win the title. Bayliss has already got that wrapped up. And by the looks of things, has got this race wrapped up too. 7.7 seconds. He's ahead of this man here, Haga, who still hasn't got rid of his teammate Corsa, who's headed for a podium. And interestingly enough, Yamaha looking to make, what is it, 200 podiums?
Yep, 200 podiums.
They've got 199 at the moment.
Yep, and the way they're going, they could get
201.
Yeah.
There's your leader. There's your champ. 2 plus 1. There was a flag in the crowd yesterday. 2 plus 1 being 21 for 3 world titles by Troy. I don't think he's the slightest bit worried about retiring. No second thoughts at all. I asked him if he was going to do anything competitive at all, and he said, nope, I just want to spend some time with the kids. Yes, he'll probably do some cycle racing and just keep his fitness, but no interest in doing anything competitive at all. He wants a rest. He wants to spend some time with his family. Had thought about racing some Holdens. Unless you've got some big money down there in Oz, he ain't going.
You know what? If I was, you know, the guys down there looking for a driver, I'd give him a go.
Give him a go, yeah. So then, Checker comes through. Nice move at turn 1 on the hands-free Honda Tenkata. Corsa plays the compliment back as they go through 2. Into 3, hard on the anchors again, up the hill. Corsa looking in good fettle, and he may even beat Haga on this kind of form. This is more like the Nürburgring again. Sadly, Corsa's only win stopped by the fact that the rain came down and red flagged the race. If Bayliss has a problem, it'll be a straight fight between the 2 Yamahas. Honda's not done though yet with Checker. 8 to go, long way to go yet. And as you can see, the tyres are starting to play a factor. This green track with not a lot of rubber down. We've had a Formula 1 demonstration from Toro Rosso, but they didn't put down too much rubber, and it's been wet all weekend long, and it means that these guys have not got quite the grip they want, and certainly not the experience of the track they wanted. But I'm glad to say it's dry as they head through Craig Jones' corner.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, going to be the track's going to be improving now, lap by lap, as these guys put more rubber down. We're not going to have too much, well, hopefully we're not going to have any more rain. So here we go, look at the outbraking. It's just up the inside there. Good shot at that. Checker just got right up the inside, runs a little bit wide. Corsa tries to nip back to the inside and does it.
So then, who is going to come through from the Yamahas? Bayliss is away, 7 seconds the gap. Out of the last corner, so impressive.
Checker just trying to get that really tight line, has a bit of a bobble onto the main straight. In the slipstream.
Whoa, Corsa very close to his teammate. Round the outside, is it possible?
Not
Checker's going to say thank you and does go past Corsa. So Corsa busy trying to attack his teammate.
Nothing wrong with the speed of that Honda, that's for sure.
No.
Definitely can get through the slipstream and past the Yamahas down the straight. Haga a little bit wide there. Pulls it back. Yeah, Corsa needs to try and nip up the inside if he can, but Corsa's strong point is his speed. And look at Checker.
Checker looking good there.
But he's
nice.
wide.
Whoa! Thank you very much, Haga says. If you want to go wide, I'll dip inside you. Up the hill, over they go. Straighten it up, down through the gears. Second gear, sliding it now. This is Haga territory now. Don't worry about the tyres, he'll ride on the rims. Checker, though, most aggressive I've seen him in a while. They all want this podium. It's such an important one, given that it's the end of the year. They all want to go out on a high.
Definitely. I mean, most of the teams are testing here on the Tuesday and Wednesday, and it's very important to get this psychological advantage. And Checker up the inside, he's done it this time.
Now Haga turns it tight and we'll go around the outside. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he could nip back up the inside, but no.
Right, here we go. Top of the hill, left, and then down the hill, and it's a long, long right.
See a little bit of chatter from the rear end of the Honda there going into the corner. So obviously battling a little bit, and I've heard a little rumour that's what they've been that's the problem they've been challenged with for most of the year.
Okay, we're on board and out of the last 2 corners. One more corner to go. Over the crest they come. Corsa.
There's Corsa's strong point. See how fast he is into the corners, and then he catches right up to the back of Haga, and he has to back off. If Haga isn't in front of him, he can go away. Let's see if he's got the slipstream now. He's got yeah, he's gone to the inside this time. That's a better chance. But Haga's strong point
is breaking.
Yes,
can't do it this time.
But Corsa holds it. A little bit of a slide.
Whoa, and there's a problem there for Haga. He sat up for a moment.
Yeah.
He's back to it now. You know, there's a big problem. There's some problem, and I think something's coming out of his bike, and he doesn't want to do another Donington. And we don't want you to do another Donington. If there is something coming out of the bike, he's looking down. What was he looking for?
Well,
could it be the gear lever gone?
Not the gear lever gone, because he's still going, but he was looking down to see if there's something slippery on his bike, I think, you know, like oil or something exiting from the machine. But definitely dropped off the pace of these guys.
Well, that's his game gone.
Yeah, his race is finished now.
6 to go, and it's been a cracker. The gap's still 8 seconds. Have a look.
Everything's okay there. Good move by Corsa. We didn't quite see what happened, but anyway.
So Corsa and Checker, Yamaha and Honda going for it with 5 to go. And Corsa taking completely different lines. And that's what's exciting about a new circuit, is you can do that.
And you've got these guys, I mean, the track is so wide, you can take these lines, and these guys have got completely different styles. I mean, you can see how aggressive Checker is with the Honda, and Corsa just likes to use those flowing lines into the corners. If he can get past Checker now, I think he might be able to pull away, because he's a little bit easier on the tyres in the last part of the race.
Corsa called it Doha with features, with scenery.
Yeah, yeah. And as we know, he's always very fast in a place like that.
Yeah, and he's a quick learner of circuits, that's the other thing. So Corsa's probably got this dialed in better than anybody else, knows a few new tricks already. Bayliss has crossed the line on 1:46.3. The gap is now 7 seconds to Corsa and Checker. That's the real battle, unfortunately. Not 2 more many battles. Haga still in 4th place, so whatever the problem was isn't completely finished, or is over, because he's not looking down and he's carrying on, but it's giving nervous moments to this team who are watching him. Haslam is reeling him in. The gap just a second between him and Ray. Levia's up to 7th, one of his best runs of the year on the Paul Bird machine. He too, not sure of his future as Checker goes wide there.
That was off the track just about there. But Corsa still right on into the middle section.
Could Checker be struggling to keep the grip?
I don't think so. I think he's just maintaining his pace.
Have a look here.
No, I mean, of course, yeah, they're starting to slide around a bit, but Corsa just needs to try and find a nice way past.
I'll tell you who's struggling with the grip, and that's Xaus. He's down in 10th position now. Nieto and Chianari and Lavia have all got in front of him.
Yeah, and I mean, that could come down to the tyres. I mean, because Crutchlow and Xaus both were... Oh, there's Haga. Haga's pulled off now.
Yeah, so he's pulled off at a position that will take him back to the pits.
Yeah.
He's just behind the commentary booth now.
Yeah, he lost...
And he's walking.
Yeah, he lost 4 seconds that last time round. So, unfortunate end to race one for Haga, but Corsa's still there.
Yep, so Haga out, that moves Haslam up, and there's a chance if Haslam can stay with this battle, but he's too far off it at the moment. He too could go for a podium. Let's have a look at the back distance. No, he's not close enough at all. So it's going to be between Corsa and Checker for second place. Corsa is going to be on the podium and giving Yamaha their 200th podium.
It looks to me like the Honda's got good drive from the slow corners, probably a little bit more torque, a little bit easier to get on the power than the Yamaha. Yamaha looks like it just struggles for a little bit of low end power, but definitely when the top end comes up, you know, Yamaha catches up a little bit.
Into the first corner they go. Checker in second place. Corsa, Mr. Consistent. BMW have chosen well. They've got the flyman in Xaus, and they've got Mr. Consistent. Here's the battle. And it's Johnny Ray, Leon Haslam, and Gregorio Lavia. 3 men who've battled hard in the British Championship in the last 3 years. Lavia, remember, a champion 2 times over. Ray right there with them, and Haslam likewise been winning all season long.
These 3 guys know their strengths and weaknesses.
They certainly do. And Lavia would love nothing more than to get past them, especially as they're both on very well-prepared Hondas. That's 3 different Hondas there. 10 Carter, we've proved, is brilliant. HM Plant has proved, with a little bit of track time here, that they too can get up to scratch quickly. And Lavia is proving why he is Gregorio Lavia, the British champion of old. We haven't seen any of the magic from him this season long. It's been a tough season in the Paul Bird squad. Paul Bird looking after his new little bird in terms of his new baby. So I'm sure watching closely on as his team go about it. Well, the man who's the big bird, he is flying high, as always is Troy Bayliss, and he leads by a country mile here in the Argyle, just bouncing through the hills here of this new track. Never a moment. Tardozzi, heartbeat probably resting at about 55 at the moment. No excitement. No,
for him, no. I mean, how many wins has that guy had in his career? And Troy Bayliss is just making it easy. There's no way that Troy Bayliss is going to have any problems, and he's going to win this race.
So, Checker going through the back markers now with 3 to go. And what a swan song it's been, though, for Bayliss. He deserves every accolade. He is a true champion, and it was interesting. I did an interview with Keeley yesterday.
The gap's opened up between these 2 guys.
Yeah, it has. Did an interview with Keeley yesterday about him, and he said, you know what's so good about Bayliss is he's a hero, but he's not. He's your regular man. He's, you know, he said when you talk to him, you talk about decorating, you talk about your families, and you talk about life. And he's just a normal guy, and he's always been that. He started as a painter decorator, and you know, he's never had any airs and graces. He may live in Monaco, he may be a multi-millionaire and one of the fittest sportsmen I know, but he's a true gentleman. He signs the autographs, everyone wants a piece of him, but he's still got that humble S, so to speak.
There goes Lavia past Johnny Ray and past Haslam.
Yeah, so this would be a great result for Lavia, the best of the season. So what a shop window for him.
Well, that is 4th position, Jonathan.
So that would be the best result of their year, and he's beaten some pretty strong men too. Nieto's in the mix too, and here's a man who needs a job. So surprise, surprise, to see Lavia and Nieto, 2 Spaniards, looking to try and make their name here in Portimao. And they've got the 2 Brits to beat, Ray and Haslam. And Ray's not done yet with Lavia.
It's interesting to see the way that all these different guys are coming up. I mean, at the start of the race, we wouldn't never have thought we'd see Lavia, but Pirelli bought 4 rear tyres, 4 different compound rear tyres to this circuit, and nobody really knew which one to go with. And I can only assume that Lavia has got a harder one, which is starting to come good just at the right time, and it's going to give him his best result in a long time in the World Superbike.
2 to go then, and we cross the line again. Bayliss has knocked it down a bit. A 1:46.7 means the gap is only 4.3 seconds, but we're watching this real battle here with Ray, Lavia, Haslam, and Nieto. And it's anybody's game with 2 to go. Ray's got past. And Lavia will now try and build as they go up the hill again. Event Axia, Paul Bird team. We haven't seen much of it on track, and now we're seeing the famous 36 of Lavia. Nieto's got past Haslam. Haslam's tyres may be going off, and Nieto needs the result.
Yeah, I mean, Nieto's one of those guys. I would say that Nieto has the same tyres on as Lavia, because those two guys are starting to work their way forward. To me, it looked like Reuben Xaus had like softer tyres on, but whatever the tyre that Troy Bayliss has got on, that's the one they have. But to be honest, the gap is coming down. 4 seconds now between Bayliss and Checker.
Well, yeah, but well, that's, you can put all sorts of ideas into it, but I think actually Bayliss is just not trying to push too hard, basically.
Well, you're right. I'm just trying to make it exciting.
Nothing wrong with that.
But this is pretty exciting because Nieto looks like he's caught right up to Lavia now. Just a bit more corner speed, and with the superior power of the Suzuki, because that is probably still the most powerful bike out there at the moment, should be able to make something of this when they come onto the straight. Johnny Ray just caught behind that back
if you want some excitement, you've got it. It's down to 3.3 seconds now on the final lap. So Bayliss has slowed down a little bit, and I think he too is struggling somewhat to stay on that pace. He's going to win this race, but he's not going to be by much.
He doesn't need to win it by much.
No, you only need to be just ahead.
He knows what he's got to do, and 3 seconds going into the last lap is like you're going to win.
It's a long way. So at the moment, it's Bayliss, Checker, Corsa, Ray, and Lavia. We're not really sure how it's going to finish, but we're pretty sure that this man, number 21, in his new paint job, is going to take it to victory. It'll be his 10th of the year, and he's going into the record books with every turn of the wheel. 3 times a world champion, 10 times a winner, 26 pole positions, including yesterday afternoon. The crowd are wearing their Troy t-shirts. Davide Tardozzi is without doubt one of his biggest fans, and you are watching one of the greatest superstars this sport has ever produced. He's on his way home to go surfing with the kids after this, but before he does, he just wants to remind us just how good he is.
There's Checker in the background. We just got a glimpse of him. Pretty frustrating for Checker, really, to see Bayliss.
Well, to come as close as he did, but what a result for Carlos Checker. You started the day saying that Carlos Checker needed wins. Well, he's not far off, is he? And if you take this man away out of the equation next year, you could argue that Checker on this bike could be one of the favourites. And if he rides like that, he will be. But out of the last corner comes the man of the moment. Baylistic does it again and takes victory for the first time. He will go in the history books of the first man to win in Portugal. Ironically, the first man ever in World Superbikes to win in Portugal was his team manager, Davide Tardozzi, on a bimotor, and somebody going very wide there on the last corner.
I think that was Lavia.
Ooh. Well, Checker does take second. Corsa takes Yamaha's 200th podium in third. Ray takes fourth. Nieto takes fifth ahead of Lavia. And Ronald Tenkata and the rest of the boys delighted with that. Carlos Checker has done Spain proud, but it's number 21 yet again. What a gift to have that helmet at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that one might be going on to his mantelpiece.
I think that he might keep that. So the winning just keeps on going, and the emotion must be, well, quite incredible. He's a fairly laid-back character, but he's one for the record books. He knows exactly where he stands. But once again, it's been a carbon copy performance by Bayliss. It's no wonder that Xerox decided that that was the team they wanted to be with. Again, he does it in style. That was the big moment. How on earth did he stay on?
And that was luck.
La 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 via!
That was what happened to Reuben Xaus yesterday in the wet, but that would have been pretty big. So Lavia using a lot of luck just to stay on that, just pushing to, he knew Nieto was behind him, and
using all his bull riding skills there. So Bayliss soaking it all up. Carlos Checker waves to the crowd. He's enjoyed that. Second place from him.
You can hear how smooth the motors are. They're pretty much at low RPM, run like road bikes. So, you know, really nice and smooth and easy. And that's the secret about making a good superbike, is that you need to have a bike that's really easy to ride, one you can ride to the limit.
Good run for Ray. Fourth race. It's the fourth place in his first ever Superbike, World Superbike race on his new team. Nieto taking 5th place. Well done to him. Lavia somehow finishing in 6th ahead of Haslam. Chianari top 8. And a little further down, Rolfo top 12. But overall, Corsa now has got ahead of Haga. 3:32 Corsa. And that was the battle we were watching, because Haga and Corsa, of course, are still battling it for the final runner-up spot. Corsa definitely in the ascendance now after Haga went out. Checker up to 3:04. So if Haga has another bad day, he might just get up a place. But the real man that's losing out, Neukirchner, was 2nd overall. And he's now in 5th place. So 4:35 though for that man Bayliss. It's been a tough weekend for him. When we spoke with him last night, he said, yeah, it's very hard. It's mixed emotions. He wants to go out and do well. He wants to keep his concentration, but everybody wants a piece of him. Everybody wants to do an interview. Everybody wants the swan song story. And
yeah, I mean, he's a racer at heart, and he's still going to be a racer. I mean,
have a look at his tyre. Have a look at his rear tyre. See how condition he's in.
Well, let's see if we can get a good look at it. But I think it'll be okay, because he hasn't, you know, he didn't really have to ride it at his limit. But you can have a look there. Rear tyre on Corsa's bike. Can't really see it.
First thing he's looking at.
Yeah, normally you can get an indication if a rider gets off a bike, and if he has a look at the rear or the front tyre, you know that's what they've been having problems with. But Corsa not too worried, and neither he should be. There you go. Bayliss looking at the rear tyre, not happy with that. Yeah, so he won't.
And he's looking at the hunt. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. That's exactly the thing there. Yeah, obviously not happy with the rear tyre, Troy Bayliss, although he won, struggling in the last few laps.
The thing with Bayliss, and it's been throughout his career, is that he pushes hard as he did, and you know, to build a 7-second lead over this world-class field, you've got to push the tyres to the limit.
Well, the thing is that where Bayliss is strong is that he might not have the right tyres on, but if the tyres are good at the start, he makes that gap at the start and then lets it drip down. He just doesn't stay with the other guys. If he's got to use those tyres when they're strong at the start, he'll make the gap of 7 seconds and then let it drift back and win by 1 second. And that's the secret of this sport. You need to use what you've got at the right time.
Corsa gives Yamaha their 200th podium position and dives into 2nd place ahead of his teammate Haga. Haga, though, won't be too worried. He's taking Bayliss's ride next year. Lavia moves up to 12th place overall, 127, ahead of Jakob Schmerz. Lanzi not here this weekend. Archie Racing not choosing to come to Portimao. And overall, Ducati now, look at that, 12 wins. And while people may say, and I know how the history books work, there was even a chance for a rule change, but people may say, Ducati, they've got the better bike, they've got the more CCs, they're the dominant factor. But we've been looking, it's not the case, it's him.
Yeah, I mean, now it's 10 wins to him and 2 wins to all the other Ducati riders. So I think the rules are honestly pretty fair. At some tracks they suit some bikes, and at other tracks they suit other bikes. But we're going to see next year, we're going to take the Bayliss factor out of it. And it's going to be a lot more even racing as far as win ratio.
Yeah, I'll give you that the combination of Ducati and Bayliss is omnipotent.
I argue if you put him on the Kawasaki probably would have had 10 wins this year.
Well, that's high praise.
There you go. It's
Mine
finished.
was finished. At the start, it was good. At the end, it was finished. See, it's not that complicated, motor racing, really, is it?
Not really. There you go. He's just eyeing up the front tyres now.
It's amazing, though. You know, what I love about Troy, right, is, you know, he's an hour away from never, ever doing this again. And yet, true to his word, for 20 years he's been doing it, and he's still checking the front tyres after the race and winning.
Well, he wants to make sure that he gets a double this weekend.
Oh, it's imperative. He looked pretty smooth out there, didn't he? Sparks flying off, but a lovely style. We're going to miss it. He's been an absolute aficionado of the two-wheel formula.
Impressive Johnny Ray this race, 4th position.
Yeah.
You know, I had no idea he'd do that. He's a better superbike rider than he is super sport rider. This man knows how to push to the limit. Reuben Xaus, very impressive mid-corner speed. I think he chose the wrong tyre for this race.
off to Valencia on Tuesday to test the new BMW, as he will with Corsa. You'd be there, but you're racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve Martin will be racing in Doha. If you've got nothing to do next weekend, go and cheer him on.
Or watch the women's tennis, which is on at the same time.
Tough one, that.
There you go.
There.
Look at that. That's definitely a not normal.
And he wasn't doing any showboating at the end. That's straight in.
No, definitely.
There is the Ducati team, and there's Falapa, one of the great Ducati riders as well.
They almost look like they're praying down there, don't they? Like they're praying to their god, Troy Bayliss.
Well,
so
there is a sort of godlike atmosphere around him when it comes to the heroes and fans watching him.
I mean, they know how easy Troy Bayliss has made their year. If you look at, you know, I mean, if they just had Fabrizio and somebody else, they wouldn't have had any wins this year. But Bayliss has brought all the wins to that team this year so far.
So 435 points he's brought to. Corsa now moving to second place. Haga in third. Checker knocking on the door in fourth place, but I can't see him taking out Haga unless Haga doesn't finish at all. Neukirchner, Nieto. Lavia's moved up the board somewhat. And the men we're looking at, Lanzi, Muggeridge and Laconi. Those are the ones with the targets on them. Sofoglu has gone off to Supersport. Rolfo has got a ride in Superbike with Stiggy. Those three I mentioned, though, have not. Clouding up a bit, and let's hope it stays fine. And the crowd really enjoying it, and a good crowd too. And there's the rear tyre of the Ducati.
Yeah, you can see even on the right side it's feathered up quite a bit as well. So
when you say feathered up, do you just mean teared?
Torn a little bit, just overworking it. The asphalt's so new, very difficult to find the right tyre, and because there's been no dry time, you know, Pirelli had bought a great, big selection of tyres, but just not getting the grip he wants. And there you can see it. It's unusual where that there is what you call feathering. But if you see just at the bottom left of your screen, it's not consistent all the way around. And what that generally means is that there's an inconsistency of the circuit. And on the right, on the full lean angle as well, you can see it's feathered, which means that it would have been moving around a lot in the latter stages of the race. So
they say, as they say where you're from, better get a new bag.
Put a new bag in the back for the next one. Not the same one, a new one, a different one, please. Crutchlow not finishing the race, and I think it's because he had some tyre problems.
He had some bag problems.
He had a few problems with his bag.
Bad bag.
Yeah.
Fair enough. No, it was. It was very obvious. I mean, he was running right in second place for a long, long time, and then suddenly he was down in 10th.
Neukirchner not finishing either, so a lot of guys, big names with problems.
Schmertz retired, Haga retired, Tommy Bridewell out, Scasser also a wild card in this weekend, number 99, in that famous 99 number. He is retired. Cesar, Ianuzzu, Neukirchner. We saw Fabrizio and Biaggi coming together. Probably still talking about that. But Corsa on the podium again. Well, he's getting lots of podiums, not just getting the win. Carlos Checa, big smile from him. Two-time winner in the USA, and now a second place here. But once again, it is a triumphant Troy. Bayliss does it again. He is unstoppable until he wants to stop. And that will be in about an hour's time.
I spoke with his wife, Kim, last night, and she said, oh, he's actually stopped training. He had a packet of salt and vinegar crisps a month ago.
Oof, you crazy hellion, you. Well, that's the problem. I mean, he's just fitter and stronger than everybody else, isn't he?
Well, yeah, that's the truth.
No rumour that he's going on the 2012 Australian Olympic team, is it? Just to bolster it up a bit from that last Olympics?
Well, no, not now that he's been seen.
He could be on the cycle team.
Well, he could be. He's so fit and strong, and he goes training with all the top cyclists. So, I mean, if he put his mind to it, he could be a great cyclist.
Well, we'll see. We've got a great velodrome in Britain. We can have Troy in there.
No, I don't think he's going to come to Britain, mate. I think he'll be in the Gold Coast cycling in the good weather.
Fair enough. It's all right, the velodrome's indoors.
It would need to be.
Well, we've had a fair bit of rain here on the Algarve this weekend, but the one thing that is raining higher and more than anyone else is him, Troy Bayliss. He is the king of superbikes yet again, and on his swan song is proving why. Kim, there she is on board. She's been a huge part of this success, and the kids are up there and all.
Little Ollie.
What's Ollie going to do? Put a golf club in his hand. Don't put him on a motorbike.
I think it's in the Bayliss blood.
Yeah. Lovely family. They've been childhood sweethearts. Very close. But certainly the travel, as it does with all, takes its toll. And you can't go on forever.
Well, it's difficult to give up when you're as good as you are. I mean, he is so good.
Yeah. Very proud, Mini-Me. And Australia can be very proud. They have a great hero. And lest we forget, 5 world champions on the podium right now. Course has got 2, remember, and Bayliss has got 3, so that's 5 Australian world champions. Unbelievable. So that's race 1, 1 more to go. Good run by Honda, and by the looks of things, their tyre wear less than the Yamaha and the Ducati. But it was an interesting race, and there was fireworks right from the start, for sure. Quick picture now for the boys before they head back to their motorhomes for a quick massage, a debrief perhaps, a rechange of the tyres. But in terms of the race, a good start from all the front row boys, especially Bayliss, who dived straight into the lead. Ray got away well, but the first real action was between the 2 Italians who came together unceremoniously. Fabrizio, in my opinion, taking out Max Biaggi. You tell me. Yep, that's the way it went, and they didn't like that much. Lavia made his way through bit by bit, and the midfield battles was where it was all going on. You saw Johnny Ray coming through, and Cal Crutchlow was up there, so too his teammate Leon Haslam. And there they all are. Xaus going amazingly through, cutting the needle, going right through there. Corsa was just in the background too. Checker by this time had made his way through. And some great onboard shots. Gives you a sense of speed as they head down to that first dip into the first corner. A real sense of just how fast and how tough that first corner is. On board with Haga as he took on, well, on board with Xaus watching Haga, but Corsa up the inside. Dramatic stuff. Haga exit stage left. And that was the end of his day. Back to the motorhome. Meanwhile, Johnny Ray in his first race back was racing hard with fellow ex-British boys Lavia and Haslam. And their battle went all the way, and this beautifully wide track gave us everything. But didn't matter how wide it was just a case of keep going. 7 seconds in the end, and another victory. Victory numero 10 for the maestro Lavia, bucking and bronking his way over to get a result. But once again, it's Ducati who are victorious. So let's get down to Julian Thomas, who's got the top 3.
Down here with third place man Troy Corsa on the podium once again. Troy, but a good constant race until the end.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I got a fairly good start there and got up onto into second place pretty soon. But sort of got swamped a few times down the end of the start-finish straight here on top speed, and sort of just wanted to not go too fast at the beginning, so I could see the tyres were going to be a bit of a problem. But after about half race distance, everyone sort of started to calm down a little bit there, and then I put my head down and had a little bit of tyre left there at the end just to get past a few of them, but couldn't really run with Carlos. He was just a bit more drive off the corner, but overall pretty happy.
Second place in the championship, one more race to go. You're going to go for the win if you can.
Well, you know, that's what I was thinking during the whole race was, second in the championship is more important than trying to go out there and win, and when Norrie was in front of me, I just tried to stay right on the back of him and not let him get away, and then he made a little mistake, so I got past and I just charged as hard as I could then, and I don't know what happened to him, but I think he dropped back a fair bit. So I think everyone was struggling a lot. So the most amount of laps we've done here in the dry at any one time for everybody. So a bit of a gamble, but we'll see what happens for the second one.
Thank you very much, Troy Corsa. Third place. Let's move on to our second place man. That's Carlos Checa. Hansbury 10K Honda. Well, Carlos, good to see you up here on the podium again. Good second place for you. Good run.
Yeah, it was quite exciting from the beginning. We started not so well from the back. Yesterday qualifying was not so good. But yeah, it was quite fun to ride in this track, and especially with many riders in the middle. It was not easy to pass. Many times you pass and then you lose the line and then you lose the position again. But until the end, until the last 3-4 laps, that I see that my pace probably is a little bit better than Troy. And Haga was quite exciting. I didn't know what was going to happen until the end. Finally, second position is quite positive and good for us.
More of the same in race 2. You're going to run up at the front earlier?
Well, as soon as I can. But the thing is that many riders in the front and everyone is quite fast and quite aggressive. Then with fuel tank and with cold tires, it's not easy. Then I think we need to wait and see when is the right time to pass, to overtake, and to catch the front people. Of course, today, even if I am able to pass more people, it was too difficult to catch Troy.
Thank you very much, Carlos Checa, second place. Let's move on to our race winner today. Well, Troy Bayliss, not satisfied with the championship. Obviously, you just cleared off at the start and got another race win here.
Oh, that was a dream start today. Of course, I was a little bit hesitant for that race at the start because none of us had done a lot of laps, and we didn't know how the tyres were going to be after 10 or 15 laps. And I think we're all pretty much on the same rear tyre. So I couldn't believe it. I thought the guys were joking with me. My lap, the gap just got bigger and bigger every lap. I didn't look around, and there was a big fight going on behind me, and that would have slowed the guys down. But I was grateful for that because in the end I was really struggling with my rear tyre. So I think we're going to have to try something a little different for the second race because Carlos is coming in a second and a half a lap for me at the end. So, but anyway, congratulations to our team and everybody that's had anything to do with it. And it's a good start today. We're just going to try and finish it off now.
Thank you very much. Today's race 1 winner, Troy Bayliss.
Glass of port might be in hand for Mr. Bayliss at the end of the day, but right now all attention is on getting grip to last. That's it. They haven't had a lot of time on a dry track and certainly not a lot of time to run long, and so therefore tyre choice will be essential for race 2 as this man, number 21 in his last hurrah, goes for the double to finish his series and his career as he started it as a superb winner. My thanks to Steve Martin. We'll be back soon. Don't forget,